So today we will talk about concentration, or the power of concentration. Because really, for our inner work and also our external life, concentration really is the master key. It's the key that unlocks everything for us, externally and internally. So today we will try to understand that. So if we were together, I would definitely ask you at this point, what do you understand by concentration? But I'm going to imagine that you would say something like focusing our attention on one thing only, or not being distracted, or controlling attention, things of this nature. And certainly, those are all correct. We can all use those, and we will mention concentration like this. But one definition I really like is the following: bringing together elements which have dispersed. In other words, it's like the definition they use in chemistry. Bringing together things which have dispersed. So it's like this. So if I get my pencil here we have things which are dispersed. And with concentration, we're bringing them together. In other words, into one single strong unit. Now, of course, we're talking about the concentration of ourselves. So what do you think it is we're trying to bring together? And I think you guys would know. It is, of course, the essence. In other words, we have this essence within us. All human beings do. But it's scattered. In other words, it's not together. And what we're trying to do with concentration is to bring it together into one strong point. What do you think is our normal state at this moment? In other words, do we think we're dispersed, our essence, or is it concentrated? I think for us at this point, probably from the practices we've done, we can see it is dispersed. In other words, if we try to listen to music, for example, and we just try to put all of our attention there, we'll see that it is very normal for us to start dreaming or to start thinking about something which is completely unrelated to what it is we're actually doing. Or maybe when we're walking, brushing the teeth, getting dressed, we'll see, even though we're doing those things, the mind does like to dream. So when we dream, or we're fascinated by life, or just completely caught up in the mind, then the essence is scattered. And then it's not even there. In fact, we don't even know it exists. If you think like you get some salt, you can put it into a great big lake, and then you can drink a glass of water from that lake, and you won't taste the salt because the concentration of the salt, it's too small. It's not enough, and so that is like the salt isn't even there. It's the same with the essence. Even though we all have this essence, because it's so scattered, we can't even feel it anymore. We don't even know it's there. When we're concentrated, then not only can we feel it, but then we can actually use it. This is the importance of concentration. For example, 2 weeks ago, I think, we spoke about the laws of evolution and involution. And we spoke about the different kingdoms, about past lives, about how the essence moves from one kingdom to the other. And we were wondering, how could we actually prove these things for ourselves? So, for example, we said with gravity, we can all prove that for ourselves because we can observe it. We can use our sense of sight to observe it. But when it comes to these laws, at this moment, we cannot observe it because, like the blind man who couldn't see the stars or know what green is like or what red is like, the same way, ourselves, because our essence is so scattered, we cannot observe these things ourselves. In other words, we don't have the eyes with which to see. And we also said that when we awaken in the consciousness, in other words, when we develop it, then we would be able. So if we speak more specifically at this moment, what do we actually refer to that? We mean, when we are concentrated, when the essence is concentrated, we can use the essence, and then those things are accessible to us. In other words, they are verifiable for us. The more concentration we have, in other words, the more the essence is gathered, the more things that are open for us. With regards to self-knowledge, this is why concentration is so key. In other words, nature, or life itself, ourselves as well, is an open book for the essence. For the essence, nothing is inaccessible to it. It can investigate anything it actually needs to, but only when we know how to use it. Only when we know how to actually direct or project that attention, that essence. I have an example here. If we imagine ourselves, or imagine life like a book. So with the mind or the personality, we can see the superficial side of the book. In other words, we can see the cover. We can see who wrote it, what its name is, what it looks like, what people think of it. and so on and so forth. But that is only the superficial side of it. To see what the content is really like, only the essence could do such a thing. In other words, ourselves, life, only the essence is the one that's capable of deciphering that text. If we try to read it with our mind, our personality, it's just the wrong tool. It'd be like trying to observe the stars using a microscope. All you see is a blur. You don't see the thing. We always need the correct tool for the thing we do. And for us to understand ourselves, to understand life or nature, the essence is the correct tool. The essence is the thing within us that is given so we can investigate anything we need to. Without the essence, in other words, if the essence is scattered, if we don't have concentration, then it's basically the same as if we can't read or we can't write. So concentration for us is learning to read and write. If we imagine our own lives, maybe our professional lives or our college, whatever, if we couldn't read or write, what could we do? Very little. If you think the computer or the internet is a powerful tool, but if you don't know how to read or write, it's not really that useful, is it? Because you can't actually control the thing. It's the same with the essence. Nature is it's an open book, but only the essence can read it. That's why we need concentration, because the concentration is the thing that gathers our essence, and from there we can investigate anything we need to. So for this reason, we can say that concentration is an indispensable and an irreplaceable tool in the path of self-knowledge. In other words, anyone who's interested in these type of things, sooner or later, they will come to the conclusion that they cannot progress without concentration. But when we acquire that concentration, or we develop that power to a good enough level to gather the essence to a good enough amount, then as we said before, that's the master key that will open all of the doors for us. So when a person really gets a good enough level of concentration, then they will discover, we can say, a world which is incredible as it is unknown. And even though it's always been there, because the essence has been scattered, we've never actually seen it. For example, many of you said, now that you're doing the practice, you might remember your dreams more. Because it's the essence is the one that remembers the dreams, it's the one that's conscious of them. And so the more it's gathered, the more we remember. If we concentrate ourselves even more, we remember even more of our dreams. And if we concentrate ourselves even further, then the essence will be gathered or conscious enough to actually know it's dreaming. So already we can see, concentration is what determines that. It's gathering the essence is what affects all of these things. But it is the key that opens all of the doors for us. So do the effects of concentration stop there? Certainly not. If we now look at our external life, we can see that concentration has a huge impact on that one as well. So if we cast our mind back to the level of being, try to draw this. Here we had birth, the line of life, the line of the job, the body and so on. We have birth and we have death. But then we also talked about the line of the consciousness. And we said really that this was the line, this was the path that impacts us the most. For example, we said, how we react to life. The higher we go up, the more intelligent we react, the more we can see things for what they actually are. We said our happiness, the higher we go, the happier we actually are. Our qualities, our creativity, our determination, our willpower, all of these are increased as we develop that essence. And whereas the higher we go, the more we have access to those things. So if we relate to this concentration, we could say that down here, it's the essence that is scattered. Because this represents our level of consciousness. And the consciousness is scattered, then obviously the level of consciousness is very low. Up here, more concentration. Here we are actually concentrated. In other words, the way we go up this level of being is by concentrating ourselves. The more we concentrate ourselves, the higher up we actually go. And this, like we explained in this previous lecture, is what affects everything about our daily life. I think maybe sometimes, have you ever noticed sometimes, everything annoys us, even someone looking at you or, asking you how you are, it can be annoying. And yet other days we can wake up full of energy, full of life, just ready to just, to do everything we actually want to do. Or maybe just on a walk, perhaps on the prom, it's a nice day, we're walking to town, and we're just happy. We love to be alive, we'd love to live forever in those circumstances. When everything annoys us, where are we? Down here. In other words, the essence is scattered. The essence that represents all the positive things about us, it's not even there. But when we feel that happiness, that just joy of being alive, that determination, then you can be sure it's because the essence is concentrated. Somehow it's become naturally concentrated. And then we can think clearly and we actually enjoy living. Or if you think of athletes, for example, some days they can play like gods, and then the next day when they play, just mistakes everywhere. It's like they're not even, it's like they haven't even turned up. When they play well, certainly it's because they concentrate, because they have their qualities. The essence is ready, to use. It's determination, it's strategy, all of these things. But when they play badly, somehow they've become distracted. Something is bothering them. Something is not allowing them to use everything they have. And so they play poorly. But all of that is because the level of concentration simply isn't there. It's funny, actually, if you look at athletes, many of them have their routines, or almost like OCD, where they say before the match that I have to eat this food, I have to get up at this time, I have to go to this place, I have to see this person, because they think that gives them a certain amount of control. And if they do those things, then they'll play well. But what they don't know is the only thing that's determining it is the level of concentration. If they were able to control their attention, 100% of the time they would play their best. In other words, they themselves, they don't know if they're going to play well or not. But if they knew about the concentration, they knew about how to control the essence, then always they would play well. You might even see this yourself. If you think maybe a sport you did or a hobby, think, was there any time you actually played exceptionally well, or really just went beyond? Or even in work, maybe one day you were just super productive. Certainly, if you can remember any of those days, it's because there was a level of concentration. And yet on the opposite, if you can remember a time where you didn't play well, or you could be hours in work and it's like you did accomplish nothing, then it's because the essence is scattered. In other words, the more essence we have, the more concentrated we are, everything we do better. Again, like we said before, if you could drive perfectly, but maybe when it comes to the day of the test, because you're nervous, because that breaks concentration, then we start to actually drive badly. Maybe it's we're giving a presentation, maybe we were very confident on the content, and we can say it to ourselves perfectly, but then because we get nervous, the concentration is lost, and then we can't even speak properly. We start to make mistakes. Even though when we're with our friends, we can talk perfectly, like masters. When it comes to giving presentation, we start to make mistakes. And that's because the concentration is lost. So for that reason, if you ever find you're in a situation that has a lot of pressure, or could even be dangerous, what is the best thing to do? Concentrate further. Unfortunately, the normal reaction is to panic, is to start to worry about the problem, or to be sad that it actually happened. But that is not useful. A much more useful way is to concentrate better. The more we concentrate, that's when the solutions come. It doesn't matter how much pressure there is, or if everyone is losing their heads, or even if it's dangerous. Never lose the cool, never actually lose the head. It's always, always better to focus, to really concentrate more and more and more, and then we will actually find the solution. Because the more we concentrate, that's when the qualities are actually heightened. The more we concentrate ourselves, the more creativity we have, the more intelligence, the more determination, and so on. You can actually see this in thousands of movies where, by the end of the film, the hero or the heroine, at the end they go against the bad guy, and it looks like they're actually going to lose. But then all of a sudden, they remember something, and then after that, they try again, and this time, they're focused, they're calm and collected, and they're they're confident, and then they win, of course, because it's a movie. But even though it's a movie, it has truth, because the more we concentrate ourselves, even though the situation is terrible, when we concentrate ourselves, all of our qualities are heightened, all of our intelligence, our determination, our strategy, our creativity, etc. Everything heightens to a new level in which our possibilities are much, much greater. Like we said before, with those people like Leonardo da Vinci or Mozart, who could do incredible things, beyond human almost. They were people who had an excellent degree of concentration. No, it's not just the 3% essence was concentrated, but even more than that, more than just a little bit, and that could make them do, or allow them to do, incredible things that for when we're distracted, just simply impossible. Or let's say you wanted to learn something. If your concentration is good, we can learn things very quickly. If our concentration is not good, then it takes much longer. For example, if you go to college and you go to the lectures and you listen with the essence actually there, or when you read the material or study it, and you do so with a bit of concentration, everything is learned much quicker. And that way you can do much less work than everyone else, and you can get much better results. Because simply the essence, it understands these things. It really just captures them very quickly. I was like a story from a man named Lobsang Rampa, who had perfect concentration, and described how one time he needed to go from one country to another, and so he had to get a boat. And so what he did is he bought a book about boat engines and he studied it, and then he went to observe a few few proto engines just to see how it actually worked. And because he had excellent concentration, in just a few days, he's already a master of the engines of boats. And then when he got the job and he went to the other side, the captain even said how he was his most valuable crew member, we can say, because he perfectly understood exactly how the engines functioned because of his concentration. Or another one is a man called Gurdjieff, who again had he had an excellent degree of concentration, and so he needed some money. And he saw this guy. This is about in the 1950s or 40s, and he was making carpets. And this guy had a special tool. He's probably worked his whole life to see how to actually make them, perfectly. And so this man Gurdjieff, because he has a good concentration, he observed this man making the carpets, and then the very next day he came with the same tool, and he made the carpets in the exact same way. Already he was able to learn what the other man had probably taken years to learn, because the concentration is good. Or you can see, like Alison mentioned before, if you read a book, have you ever read a book and you can't even remember, a page or a paragraph, what you've just even read? It's because the concentration just simply isn't there. You can't even really perceive or even remember what it's actually read. But if our concentration is good, one time, not only you remember it, but you comprehend it on a whole new level, because the essence has that capability. And when it's concentrated, then it's possible. So there's lots of things to learn, and in this day and age, we have to be able to learn quickly, especially in our jobs. There's always new things coming up. If we have concentration, that's easy. Not only is it easy, but it's a joy to learn things. Anything, an instrument, a sport, a hobby you have, if your concentration is good, you'll learn it much, much quicker than is normal, because the concentration is there. But let's say you had a problem, or something you wanted to change. Perhaps maybe the coronavirus has taken your job, and now you need to find a way of making money. Or maybe you have a nice job, but you want one that you enjoy more, or one that pays more. Again, the way we find solution to these things is concentration. If, let's say, we had the objective, I want a job that I enjoy every day, that I always enjoy, we'd sit down and we would reflect how to actually make that happen. At first, we wouldn't find the answer, because it's a difficult question. But the more we focus, the more internally we keep on reflecting, the more we concentrate ourselves, before we know it, from one moment to the next, suddenly the solution comes. And suddenly we get an idea that gives us the solution. We come up with the thing we actually need to move forward or to make it happen. This is possible for anything, any problem we have. Never feel bad about the problem or just abandon to it. Always keep on reflecting. How can we actually overcome this? The more we keep on concentrating ourselves, the better we become at doing it, then the answer has to come. There's always a solution to everything. And concentration is the way we're going to find it. Because the essence is the one that always hunts down these solutions. And concentration is how we let the essence do that. So for anything, concentration is the key. So we could speak all the night about the benefits of concentration. But basically, we have good days and we have bad days. We know this. But concentration is the thing that allows us to control that. If the athlete always wants to be his best, concentration is what he needs. If we always want to find solutions, the best solutions to our problems, concentration is what we need. If we want that state which is happy, which has joy for life, concentration is the thing that gives us that. If we want to learn things quickly, do things our best, use our qualities, concentration, using the essence is what allows that to happen. This is why concentration is so important. This is why we said at the beginning, it is the master key that unlocks all of the doors. It is, without a doubt, the greatest power that a person could learn at the beginning. What's even more interesting in concentration is it's actually a power of the essence, not the body or the personality or the mind, but a power of the essence. And what this means, if we remember, is that development is not lost from one lifetime to the next. In other words, if we learn to concentrate now, in our next lifetime, we would have concentration. We would not have to learn it again. It was already there. All the benefits it gives, it remains with us. Obviously, learn to walk or to read or write, these belong more to the personality. And so for that reason, we have to learn them again each time. But concentration is never lost. And for that reason, it is one of the most important things, the most powerful things that a person can actually learn. So if you're still with me, how do we learn concentration? Or how do we improve our current level of concentration? The key, like we explained before, action and perception. In other words, we gather the concentration. We concentrate the essence by keeping our perception in the present moment. Each moment that we keep our perception there, the essence is gathered. As soon as we start to dream again, then it's lost. In other words, if we concentrate ourselves or remember ourselves, as we said before, for a few seconds, the essence is not very concentrated. But if we keep it going for a few minutes, or even more and more and so on, then the more it becomes concentrated. So what we need to learn to do to concentrate ourselves is to practice keeping our attention in the present moment, as we've explained before, and we will continue to explain. So action and perception, for example, action. We hear the music, we listen to the music, we perceive the music using our sense of hearing. We go for a walk, now the body goes for a walk. But instead of dreaming, instead of thinking about other things, we actually perceive ourselves walking, perhaps by using our sense of sight to see what's around us, perhaps by using our sense of hearing to hear the people around us, or the crowds, or the birds, or the sea, or anything. Or we might use our sense of touch by feeling our feet move, feeling them hit the ground. In other words, we use our senses to keep our attention in the present moment. It's very simple like that. For example, I have a table here. Action. I put my hand on the table. Perception. I can feel the table. And then I just simply keep this alive, keep this sensation alive. If a thought comes along that wants to think about something else, I just keep the perception there. Because my perception, if our perception is here, it can't be taken away. It can't be anywhere else if it's actually here. So when we learn concentration, what we're trying to do is keep the perception in the present moment. It's important to understand this perception. I remember there's a master who was asked one time, that they were practicing concentration and they were getting headache from practicing so much. What was their problem? Is they were just practicing using the mind. In other words, they're concentrating thought or just thinking about things. But we're not concentrating the mind, we're concentrating the essence. And the essence is our perception. In other words, we're trying to learn to keep our perception in that present moment. And we do this by anything we do, any action. We perceive what we're actually doing, whether it's walking, whether we're talking, whether we're listening to music, whether we're eating. We try to actually perceive ourselves doing these things. But certainly, this requires a lot of practice. The rewards are incredible. And for that reason, the efforts are also incredible. It's like learning an instrument or a new skill. We have to study it, we have to practice it, we have to see our obstacles and overcome them. It's the same with concentration. It's not like so much learning a bike where you could do it, one session or a few days. More like an instrument or something you have to master. It takes practice, it takes study, and it takes investigation. This is how we will learn concentration. So how do we measure our concentration? In other words, how do we know how good our concentration is? We can say we're like athletes. Not athletes of the body, but athletes of the soul, or athletes of the essence. Like athletes, think of a 100-meter sprinter. He'll time himself to see how fast can he actually run 100 meters, and he'll see how he's getting better. It's the same for ourselves. We have to see what our current level of concentration is and how we are actually getting better. So what's the first thing? Time. In other words, how long can we stay in the present moment? In other words, is it 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, 1 minute, 5 minutes, etc.? How long can we actually keep our perception in the music or in whatever we're actually doing? 2, frequency. How often do we actually remember to be in the present moment? Or, if it's the music, for example, how long does it actually take us to come back? In other words, if the mind takes us away, how long does it take us to come back to the practice? In other words, to come back to the present moment. So frequency. How often do we remember to be in the present moment? The third one then is amplitude. In other words, how great is our concentration? How profound it is? In other words, if we have the level of being, how high up do we actually go? How high up can we actually get up here? This is our amplitude. How do we increase our amplitude? Mainly by increasing our time. As we said, the longer we keep our perception in the present moment, in other words, the more we concentrate the essence, the longer, the more we go up. So increasing the amplitude is all connected to the time. The longer we can concentrate ourselves, the greater the amplitude will be. So when we concentrate, it's important we check these things ourselves, because we get to see as a concrete fact, here's where we are, and we get to see each day how we're actually getting better. If we can get to a time, for example, of 30 minutes, then most of those doors that we spoke about are already open. So 30 minutes is really what we need to aim for. So practice. So if we were in, together, now we would do about 3 practices in a row. For example, first we'd have listening as normal. We'd listen to the music, our action, and we'd use our perception, our hearing, to know that we're listening to the music for 7 minutes. Then straight away after, we would have done looking. We'd look at an object, such as a candle, or maybe a glass of water, or a plant, or painting, or anything. And we perceive ourselves doing that using our eyes. In other words, instead of letting the mind take us away, we'd have kept ourselves in that present moment looking at the object. Then the feeling, the sense of touch with the feet. In other words, we would have either held onto the chair or felt our feet on the ground, and we'd see how long can we actually use our sense of touch to keep ourselves there. Now for yourselves, if you want to learn concentration, as we said, practice is the way we actually do it. And if you have the discipline, definitely a good idea to do this yourself. In other words, set yourself 7 minutes. I'm going to listen to this piece of music. And straight away after 7 minutes, look at something you like, anything, and just try to keep your attention on it. Then hold something or touch something or feel something, and try to keep your attention on that just for 7 minutes. Or if you're busy, you could do 5 to 10 minutes, now, 5 to 10 minutes the next day or some other time. Important thing is to practice. Again, let's say you want to learn an instrument. If we practice once a week, probably not going to learn it very well. If we practice 30 minutes a day, we'll certainly learn more. If we practice even more, obviously we will learn much faster. So the more we practice, the faster we will actually learn. Now I know that, as a human being, we can be lazy. In other words, it can be difficult, especially at the beginning, to discipline ourselves to actually do these practices. And if you find that's the case, in other words, you just can't bring yourself to do the practices, what we do is we find the practices that we really love. In other words, we all have things that we love to do. Maybe you love to dance, you love to sing, you love to run or play football or listen to music, who knows what. Pick one of those activities and try to apply the action and the perception. For example, I play the piano. If I wanted to practice action perception, how would I do it? I'll play the piano and I'll pick one of my senses so that I know to keep my attention there. For example, I might use my sense of hearing and I'll hear myself playing. Or I might use my sense of sight and I'll see myself, moving my fingers. Or I might use my sense of touch and feel my fingers hitting the keys. In other words, pick a sense and keep your attention there. For example, if you like to dance, you could pick the sense of touch, for example, and see what it actually feels like. Or you could use the sense of sight to see how the movements are. You can do the same for anything, whether it's singing or talking to someone. If you like to talk to people, fantastic. We can hear ourselves actually speaking. If we go for a run, the exact same. Anything we like. Find the things, do the things that we actually love. And before we do them, just say to ourselves, for 5 to 10 minutes, this is going to be a practice. In other words, this is the action perception. This is how I'm going to do it. And let's see how to actually do it. In other words, let's practice how to keep my attention in the present moment. If we do this, in other words, I think we can actually do this then. In other words, the discipline, it's hard to discipline ourselves at the beginning, but if we do things that we love, this is possible. Anything we love to do, we always overcome the obstacles. You think even if if you love somebody, you won't even sleep. There's so much energy that you'll stay up all night waiting to see the person. It's the same with the practice. When we really develop the love for doing the practice or apply the practice to something that we really love to do, then there's much more energy behind it. There's much more determination to actually do it, in compared to perhaps, for example, just feeling the table or just looking at the object. Find the things that you actually like. Find things that you love to do, and just for 5 to 10 minutes, try to see how to apply the willpower and perception. If we do it correctly, not only will our concentration get better, but as I said before, even the thing we do will get better. If we love to play piano or guitar or whatever, if we learn to concentrate correctly, in other words, we learn how to do it with power and perception, we'll reach a whole new level than we've known before. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I hope it makes some bit of sense anyway. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to email us. Or if you want to call, maybe you have a lot of questions or more complicated questions, send us a call or a message on Facebook or text or anything. and we'll arrange a time and we can have a quick call. Any questions, any doubts, let us know, and best of luck and take care.